Welcome to our deep dive into the Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this one.
It's not just like any self-help book,
Right.
It's more like a memoir where he kind of chronicles this whole journey of like letting go
Letting go? Okay.
of his own personal preferences and allowing life to just like guide his path.
So it's like surrendering to what life throws at you.
Yeah, and we're going to explore what we can all learn from his wild experiences, especially for someone like you listening, who's driven by learning and personal growth.
I like that angle.
Yeah,
I'm always trying to improve myself.
exactly.
Always looking for new insights.
Totally. And I think this book has a lot to offer in that regard.
Cool.
So Singer's journey actually begins in 1970.
Okay, a while back.
Yeah, with this awakening, he calls it.
An awakening.
He describes it as this sudden realization that his thoughts and emotions weren't actually him.
Whoa, that's deep.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like he was suddenly observing them from a distance.
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
For sure. And this shift actually sets the stage for his entire surrender experiment.
Makes sense. He realizes he has a choice, right? Like, get caught up in all the mental chatter or observe it and then choose a different path.
Exactly. And there's this great story early on about Singer just hanging out on the couch with his friend Ronnie.
Okay.
And he notices this familiar urge to fill the silence.
Oh, yeah, I hate awkward silences.
Totally. And suddenly it's like he sees the machinery of his own mind working.
That's so interesting.
And he actually asks Ronnie, have you ever noticed there's this voice talking inside your head?
Whoa, that's a big question.
It is, right? And this question, while seemingly simple, it points to this profound realization about the nature of our minds.
We all have that voice.
Yeah, we've all had those moments where we feel that internal pressure to say or do something.
All the time.
And from this point on, Singer starts craving this inner silence.
Oh, okay.
So he dives deeper into meditation.
Makes sense.
And eventually he sets off on this solo road trip to Mexico,
What?
seeking solitude and a deeper connection with himself.
I love road trips. So this trip to Mexico, is that his first big surrender moment?
In a way.
Yeah.
He doesn't overthink it. He just feels drawn to go and follows that impulse.
Just goes with the flow.
Totally. And by embracing that spontaneity, he experiences this unexpected freedom and joy.
You know what? That makes me think of that anecdote about him meeting those Mexican cowboys.
Oh yeah, while he's meditating by the lake.
Yeah, instead of feeling threatened or weirded out, he just goes with the flow.
I love that story.
He ends up riding double on one of their horses back to his van.
No way.
Yeah, and he talks about this overwhelming sense of peace washing over him.
So cool.
It's a moment where he recognizes that surrendering to the present moment, even when it feels uncertain, can lead to these unexpected and beautiful experiences.
Totally. And this whole experience in Mexico, it seems to be a turning point for him.
Right.
He returns to the U.S. with a deeper commitment to his spiritual practices and this new sense of peace.
But letting go of control is definitely easier said than done.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What makes Singer's story so compelling is that he's not some superhuman,
Right.
who's mastered surrender.
He's just a regular guy.
He's a regular guy. He
Yeah.
faces those internal struggles, doubts, and resistance, just like all of us,
I can relate to that.
for sure. But he keeps choosing surrender even when it feels uncomfortable or illogical.
That takes courage.
It does. And this brings us to the story of building the meditation hut.
Oh, yeah, I read about this.
He enlists two friends.
Yeah.
One's a handyman, the other's an architect.
Okay.
And Singer's thinking simple, just basic structure,
Practical.
But the architect has a totally different vision.
Ah.
He presents this elaborate design for this wedge-shaped house with this massive glass front.
Whoa, that's not simple.
No, not at all. And Singer's initial reaction is pure resistance.
I bet.
His mind is screaming, no way! But true to his experiment, he chooses to surrender to the architect's vision.
Even though he doesn't want to.
Yeah, and it becomes this incredible experience for everyone involved. They're hand-selecting trees, learning new construction techniques, and even bonding with the folks at the lumberyard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the process itself becomes this unexpected journey.
Totally. And he ends up with this stunning architectural masterpiece that he never could have imagined on his own.
That's the power of surrender, right? Letting go of our limited ideas and allowing something greater to unfold.
Exactly. It's a powerful illustration of that.
So he built this amazing house, intending to use it as a personal retreat.
Right.
To further his spiritual practices.
Right.
But life, as it always does, had other plans.
It always does. And it's fascinating how this surrender plays out. He builds this amazing house to be alone, but then life throws a curveball.
Life's full of curveballs.
It is. And remember, at this point, he's teaching economics part-time and intentionally keeping a low profile to minimize distractions from his spiritual pursuits.
So he's trying to stay under the radar.
Yeah, but sometimes the more we try to control things, the more life surprises us.
It's like the universe has a sense of humor.
It really does. So his classes become incredibly popular.
Really?
Students start packing the lecture hall, bringing friends. They even show up at his house for like impromptu meditation sessions.
Whoa, he becomes like this accidental guru.
He does. Word had gotten around that this economics professor was offering something more. Something that resonated with people searching for meaning and connection.
That makes sense, especially back then. It's the 70s, right? A time of like significant cultural shifts and a growing interest in like Eastern spirituality.
Totally. And he even ends up tutoring the new college president.
No way.
This banker named Alan Robertson, who needed a PhD to take on the role.
So he's like teaching the boss.
I know, right? It seems like the complete opposite of the solitary life Singer was envisioning for himself.
It totally is. But again, he chooses to surrender to the situation.
And not only does he form a genuine friendship with Robertson, but his dissertation, which he was worried wouldn't be accepted because of its spiritual leanings,
Yeah, what
it ends
happens?
up getting published.
No way, really?
It's called The Search for Truth, and it's still selling copies today.
That's amazing.
It really makes you wonder, would that book have ever been written if he hadn't surrendered to this unexpected tutoring gig?
Right. It's a great example of how stepping outside our comfort zones, even when it seems counterintuitive to our goals, can lead to unexpected growth and fulfillment.
For sure. And this is just the beginning of Singer's surrender experiment.
Can't wait to hear what happens next.
Me too. It really makes you think about how often we limit ourselves with our like preconceived notions of how life should be.
Oh, yeah, we get so attached to our plans.
We cling to our plans and preferences, and we potentially miss out on these incredible possibilities that could unfold if we simply let go.
That's a good point. What are your thoughts on this so far?
It's fascinating how Singer, despite his desire for solitude, he ends up like deeply connected to the community around him. It's like his surrender opens him up to these unexpected relationships and collaborations that ultimately like enrich his life in ways he couldn't have planned for.
It's like the more he surrenders, the more life rewards him with opportunities to connect, grow, and contribute.
Right. And we're just getting started with his story. Things are about to get even more interesting as we delve into the next phase of his experiment.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so we've seen how Singer's like commitment to surrender has led to these unexpected opportunities in his personal life and in his academic life.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride so far.
But here's where things get really, really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
His surrender experiment starts to like impact his professional world.
Okay, his career.
Yeah, and in some pretty remarkable ways.
Interesting. So was this like a deliberate strategy or?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It happened very organically, just as he continued to say yes to the opportunities that life was presenting, even when they didn't fit his initial vision.
So being open to new possibilities.
Exactly. And remember, at this point, Singer's income is pretty modest.
Right, he's teaching writing.
Yeah, but he's not exactly like rolling in dough.
Not a millionaire yet.
Not yet. But as his spiritual community grows, the needs of the people around him start to like create new possibilities.
So his community is influencing his path.
They are. And a great example of this is the birth of his construction company, Built with Love.
Built with Love. That's a cool name.
It is, right? And it all starts with a simple request from a sheriff's deputy who wants Singer to enclose his garage.
A simple construction job.
Yeah, and Singer's initial instinct is to decline. He's busy, he's not a professional builder.
Makes sense.
But then that inner nudge of surrender
Yeah.
leads him to say yes.
There it is again, that surrender.
And this decision, seemingly insignificant at the time, sets off this chain of events that like completely transforms his life.
Wow, talk about a butterfly effect.
I know, right? And Built with Love takes off almost immediately, fueled by word-of-mouth referrals and Singer's commitment to quality craftsmanship.
So he's good at what he does.
He is. And then there's that incredible story about how he acquired a builder's license.
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that. Did he just like go to school for it or?
It sounds like something out of a movie.
Okay, tell me.
It was pure serendipity.
Okay.
During a gathering at the temple, someone mentions that they have a builder's license that Singer could use.
Really?
And it turns out this individual was like caught up in some legal issues, and the license was just sitting there unused.
Wow. What are the chances?
Right place, right time.
So he gets a builder's license out of thin air, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And this is just one example of how things just seem to fall into place for Singer as he continues to surrender to the flow of life.
It really challenges how we think about success.
I know, right?
We tend to think it's all about, planning, hard work, maybe a little bit of luck.
But Singer's experience suggests that there's a deeper principle at play.
Surrender.
Surrender. A willingness to let go of our limited vision and trust that something greater is guiding us.
I like that. And this brings us to the story of the medical manager.
The software that becomes like a cornerstone of his financial success.
Okay. The software.
It all begins with this chance encounter at Radio Shack.
Radio Shack, wow, blast from the past.
I know, right? Singer stumbles upon one of the first personal computers, and he's instantly captivated by its potential.
This is way back when computers were a new thing.
Early 1980s.
So cutting edge technology?
But Singer intuitively senses the transformative power of this technology.
Even though he doesn't know how he's going to use it.
Exactly. He's drawn to this new frontier, trusting that his exploration will lead him to something meaningful.
And it does.
It does, in a way that he could never have predicted.
So what's he doing at this point? He's got the construction company, right?
Yeah, he's running a successful construction company, overseeing the expansion of the temple, and still teaching part-time.
Whoa, busy guy.
Very busy. It's hard to imagine how he managed to juggle all of those responsibilities.
Must have been a lot of long days.
For sure. And it's a testament to his ability to stay present, to focus on the task at hand, and to trust that everything will work out in the end.
Okay, I like that approach. And then comes the pivotal moment.
A doctor at one of his construction sites starts complaining about the inefficiencies of medical billing.
Oh yeah, I've heard doctors complain about that.
At that time, everything was done manually.
A logistical nightmare.
And this sparks an idea in Singer's mind. He realizes that he can use his newfound computer skills to create a software solution
to streamline medical billing
that could revolutionize the entire industry.
That's a big vision.
And just like that, the seed for the medical manager is planted.
Wow.
He begins developing the software in the evenings after his construction work, and temple duties are done.
No time to rest.
And he even brings in Barb, this skilled programmer from the temple, to help him refine the design.
Okay, so he's got help.
They focus on creating a user-friendly system that addresses the specific needs of medical practices.
So really understanding their clients.
And going above and beyond to create features that streamline billing processes and even allow for customized insurance claim forms.
That's smart. They're thinking ahead.
And this dedication to excellence becomes a key factor in the software's rapid success.
Okay, so the software is good.
Really good. And it's incredible how things seem to align. The medical manager starts generating buzz, attracting interest from medical practices all over the country.
Word is spreading.
And then this software distribution company, Systems Plus,
okay,
offers Singer a deal that will launch the software onto the national stage.
So it's going big time.
But there's a catch.
What's the catch?
The biggest computer trade show, Comdex, is just weeks away.
Okay, not a lot of time.
And they need to finalize the agreement and get a finished version of the software shipped to California in time for the event.
That's a tight deadline.
It sounds like an impossible deadline.
So what does he do?
True to his experiment, he embraces the challenge.
Of course he does.
He and Barb work tirelessly, fueled by this combination of passion and purpose.
Gotta love that dedication.
They make the deadline, and the launch at Comdex is a resounding success.
It did.
The medical manager attracts attention from medical practices all over the country.
So their little software from the woods of Florida is making a splash.
It's a great example of how surrender can lead to these incredible breakthroughs.
It's not about being passive, right?
It's about being open to those new possibilities, trusting your intuition, and taking inspired action when the opportunity arises.
And I'm guessing the story doesn't end there.
It doesn't. Systems Plus realizes they need someone to manage the insurance claim form templates for all the different companies nationwide.
That's a big job.
And as if by destiny, this recent college graduate named Larry Horowitz
Okay.
shows up at the temple looking for work.
No way! What are the chances?
It's like he was destined to be a part of this story.
So he's the missing piece of the puzzle.
And Larry turns out to be this brilliant programmer with a deep understanding of insurance billing practices.
Perfect timing.
He joins the team and develops a sophisticated system that allows the medical manager to handle electronic claims for the entire country.
That's huge.
It is. And the medical manager's success continues to snowball. attracting the attention of some of the biggest players in the healthcare industry,
Aiku.
including Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Remember, this is the mid-1980s, and the idea of electronic medical billing is still relatively new.
Oh, they're pioneers.
Singer's company is at the forefront of this revolution.
That's amazing.
And then he gets a call from the vice president of Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield, one of the largest insurance providers in the country.
Okay, this is big.
They're so impressed with the medical manager that they want to drop their own software system and market Singer's product under their own private label.
Talk about a validation.
It's a huge validation of everything they've been working towards.
And proof that focusing on creating a truly exceptional product, one that serves the needs of others, can lead to extraordinary success, even in a really competitive industry.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh.
And it doesn't stop there. Other Blue Cross Blue Shield organizations across the country follow suit.
They all want a piece of the pie.
Eager to partner with Singer's company. It's a remarkable success story.
It really is.
And it all stemmed from Singer's willingness to surrender to the opportunities that life presented, even when they didn't fit into his initial plan.
So what happens next? Does he just ride off into the sunset with all his success?
Not exactly. As you might imagine, this level of success brings its own set of challenges.
Of course, there's always a catch.
As the company grows, Singer finds himself increasingly pulled away from the simplicity and solitude he craves.
Right, he's a CEO now.
He's constantly traveling, managing employees, dealing with the complexities of the business world.
That sounds stressful.
And this creates an internal conflict that will lead to one of the most profound chapters in his surrender experiment. It's interesting how Singer's surrender experiment leads him to this huge success with the medical manager, but at the same time, it creates this internal conflict.
Yeah, it's like he's achieved this financial abundance.
But he feels pulled away from the simplicity and the spiritual focus that he values so deeply.
Right. It's a tension I think a lot of us can relate to,
For sure.
Trying to balance our inner world with all the demands of our outer world.
It's a constant struggle.
It is. And Singer's journey, I think, shows us that even when we achieve what we think we want, it doesn't always bring that lasting fulfillment if it comes at the expense of our deeper values.
That's a good point. So he's got this thriving business, right? A growing spiritual community at the temple. He's married to Donna, who shares his path.
Sounds like he's got it all.
From the outside, it looks like he has it all.
Right.
But that inner voice, the one he's been working to quiet through meditation, it starts to reemerge.
Like it's calling him back.
Yeah, and it's that voice is saying, is this really what you want? Have you strayed too far from the path of inner peace?
Those are big questions.
And these questions lead Singer to a moment of deep reflection.
Okay.
And a reevaluation of his priorities.
So he's at a crossroads.
He is. And it's during this time that he has this chance encounter at a retreat with his old college friend, Ronnie, the successful attorney.
Ronnie.
Yeah, and it's interesting how their paths had diverged so dramatically.
Right.
Yet they both end up drawn to this spiritual gathering.
Makes you think about how we're all searching for something,
Totally. And it's a reminder that the search for meaning and purpose, it can take many forms.
Right.
So Ronnie, despite achieving worldly success, has also been on this journey of integrating his spiritual practices into his life.
Even as a lawyer.
Even as a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
He even incorporates meditation into his legal work.
Wow, that's cool.
I know, right? I love how he finds a way to bridge those two worlds.
It's encouraging for those of us who are, trying to find that balance in our own lives.
For sure. And this meeting with Ronnie, it seems to reignite something in Singer.
Okay.
It reinforces his desire to create a dedicated space for spiritual practice.
A place where people can connect with their inner selves.
Yeah, and explore the teachings that transformed his life.
So this leads to the creation of the Temple of the Universe.
It does this beautiful sanctuary nestled in the woods of his property.
That sounds peaceful.
It is. And the creation of the temple, it feels like the culmination of years of surrender for Singer.
Yeah, it's like this tangible manifestation of his commitment to spiritual growth and service to others.
But it's important to note that even this seemingly perfect outcome, it comes with its own set of challenges.
Right. Managing the temple, it requires more time, more interaction with people.
More responsibilities.
That pulls Singer away from that solitude he craves.
And it's through these challenges, these moments of friction, that Singer's understanding of surrender, it deepens.
Okay.
He begins to see that true surrender, it isn't about escaping the world or isolating yourself from its complexities.
It's about embracing life in all its messiness.
Yeah, showing up fully for whatever's presented and letting go of the need to control the outcome.
So finding that inner peace amidst the chaos.
Trusting that even difficult experiences have something to teach us.
That's a powerful perspective.
It is, and it's such an important point for all of us to consider. Surrender. It's not about becoming passive or giving up on our goals.
It's about developing a deeper trust in the unfolding of life, even when it takes unexpected turns.
For sure. And this brings us to one of the most challenging chapters in Singer's journey.
Oh boy, what happened?
The FBI raid on his company.
What? The FBI?
It's this shocking event that completely turns his world upside down.
So what happened?
It stemmed from some shady accounting practices at a company that medical manager had acquired.
Oh, okay.
But Singer himself wasn't involved.
So he got caught in the crossfire.
But as the head of the company, he's caught in the middle of this federal investigation.
I bet that was scary.
It's this high-stakes situation that would test anyone's commitment to surrender.
For sure. It would be so easy to freak out and give in to fear.
Totally. And it's in these moments of crisis that our true nature is revealed.
Right.
And it would have been so easy for Singer to succumb to fear, anger, and despair.
But he didn't.
He leaned into his spiritual practices. He used meditation to stay grounded amidst all the chaos.
Using his tools.
To observe his thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
That takes a lot of strength.
And it's a powerful example of how surrender can actually be a source of strength and resilience in the face of adversity.
So it's not about denying the difficulty.
No.
It's about finding a way to navigate it with grace and equanimity.
And he chooses to face the investigation with honesty and integrity, trusting that life will unfold as it should.
And how did that go?
And it's during this tumultuous period that he starts writing The Surrender Experiment.
Oh, wow. So the book is born out of this challenging time.
It is. It's his way of processing his experiences, finding meaning in the midst of suffering, and sharing the wisdom he's gleaned along the way.
It's like turning his pain into purpose.
Totally. And it's inspiring how he transforms this challenging experience into an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
It really speaks to the transformative power of surrender, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles.
For sure. And as he delves deeper into his surrender experiment, he has this profound realization.
Okay, what is it?
True freedom. It doesn't come from controlling external circumstances.
It comes from within.
But from detaching from the ego's grip on our inner world.
That's deep.
And he starts to see his thoughts, his emotions, even his sense of self as transient phenomena, like waves on the ocean.
Just arising and passing away.
And he learns to observe them without judgment, without clinging or aversion.
That's a powerful practice.
And this leads him to the concept of the untethered soul.
The untethered soul.
A state of inner peace and liberation that transcends the limitations of the ego.
So it's like this idea of being fully present in the moment.
Open to whatever life brings, without the need to control or resist.
And that's available to all of us.
It is. It's not just for spiritual masters or those who've renounced the world.
That's a hopeful message.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the surrender experiment, what are some key takeaways, for someone like you who's constantly seeking knowledge and growth?
Well, Singer's story shows us that surrender, it's not a one-time event.
It's an ongoing practice.
It's about cultivating a willingness to let go of our rigid ideas about how things should be and embracing the unexpected turns that life throws our way.
And trusting that even challenging experiences can serve our growth and lead us to a deeper level of fulfillment.
Exactly. And his story is like this powerful invitation to examine our own relationship with control, surrender, and the flow of life.
What if instead of constantly striving to make life conform to our expectations,
we surrendered to its wisdom,
to the inherent intelligence that often operates beyond the grasp of our limited minds?
What if by relinquishing the illusion of control, we actually gained access to a greater power?
A force that can guide us towards a life that is richer, more meaningful, and ultimately more fulfilling than anything we could have planned for ourselves.
That's a powerful thought.
It is. And it's one we hope you'll continue to explore as you continue your own journey of learning, growth, and self-discovery. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.